Greetings to all of you, wherever you're listening from. I am Commander Bimal Raj, a TEDx speaker, internationally certified trainer and coach, mindset mentor, and a teen and parents coach. In this podcast, The Awkward Talks, I bring you topics that are usually considered taboo or are not discussed freely by the youth, but are some of the most pivotal things that we should be talking about. We are constantly surrounded by people. Colleagues, clients, friends, family, neighbors, fellow travelers. Now some of them are happy people and they rub off their happiness onto us, right? After talking to them, we feel elated and most of the time have a lingering smile. However, there are also some others who leave you feeling stressed out at the end of the conversation. You feel drained of all energy suddenly, especially after speaking to one particular person. At times, they leave you feeling super heavy and tired merely by their presence. Now, these people are often referred to as energy vampires. They can be anywhere and anyone. They can be your spouse or your best friend. They can be in your cubicle or your neighbor. Sometimes we keep such people pretty close and don't even realize it. That is why you need to be aware of the signs of an emotionally draining person we call an energy vampire. Now, in today's fast-paced life, it is important to learn how to identify and respond to this toxic behavior. It can help you preserve your energy and protect yourself from a great deal of emotional and physical distress. Now, contrary to what the name may suggest, energy vampires are not akin to the likes of Dracula, Edward Cullen, or the Salvatore brothers. They weren't born from a Bram Stoker novel, nor does their skin sparkle in the sun, and they definitely don't suck all the blood out of you, even if it may sometimes feel like that. But they do walk among us, and maybe we can be energy vampires ourselves at times. Now, before I get onto the topic of energy vampires, we need to understand what energy is. And no, I'm definitely not going to be teaching you physics. Maybe just rearranging the alphabets and going a little psychic instead. Now, each of us have a faith system, and you do not have to believe me when I say things like this. This talk is stemming from my life experiences and the research I've done on this topic. Now, coming back to the topic of energy. It is a concept related to metaphysics and spirituality. In this context, energy is an intangible force or vibration believed to permeate all living and non-living things in the universe. It is often associated with the life force or spiritual essence that connects everything together. You may have heard of aura, psychic energy, universal energy, vibrational energy, etc. Now, if you don't connect with any of these concepts, then I am sure you remember your high school physics class when they taught you that energy cannot be created nor destroyed, but only exchanged. Well, in this context, think of energy vampires as people who take more energy from you instead of sharing some of their energy or giving some back. Now, how can you identify energy vampires around you? First of all, there are some specific types of energy vampires. First one, the melodramatic victim. These types are always complaining about their life, job, relationships, and everything in their life. If you try to tell them that even you are going through challenges, they will go to the next level and prove how their life is way worse than yours. Second, the toxic minimizer. Now, these are people who bolsters their ego by putting you down. They will find something wrong with anything you do or say. Even their compliment would be underhanded. Something like, "You are quite handsome for someone who isn't fair." You understand what I'm saying? Third, the helpless dependent. Now, this is one of the most common types. They appear innocent and in pain or in need. And most of us like to help others so that they can feel better, right? So we give them our time and effort to make them feel good and special about themselves. Now soon you find that they start depending on you regularly for compliments and validation of their feelings. You start realizing that you are giving your time and effort more than necessary, and despite your good intentions and efforts, you also realize that they do very little to support you or show up when you need them. Now, despite whatever type they are people who tend to drain your energy through their behavior and interactions. They leave you feeling emotionally exhausted, physically drained, or mentally fatigued. Learning how to identify energy vampires can help you identify them in your lives. Now, some of the signs and traits of energy vampires are these. 1. You feel empty and drained after spending time with them. Now, the very definition of an emotionally draining person implies that their presence drains those around them. So, feeling tired and empty after talking to someone is the most telling sign that you are dealing with an emotional vampire or an energy vampire. Many times you can't even point your finger at a specific trait or behavior that makes this person so draining. It may just be an overall feeling of emotional exhaustion that you get every time you spend time in their company. Next, they need your attention. Now, they feed on your attention. Some of them may create drama out of nothing and get you to comfort them. Some others talk about themselves all the time and you have no choice but to listen to them. Some would just want to dominate every conversation with you and also give others advice they didn't ask for. Next, they lack empathy and listening skills. No, they are not good listeners and they are only interested in conversations where they have the leading role. They want to be the only person and the center of attraction. Next, they complain a lot and have victim mentality. Now, this is one common trait of most energy vampires. They have nothing nice to say about anything or anyone and they see doom everywhere. They thrive on negativity and they make themselves feel better by dumping their negativity on you. And according to them, they are the most unfortunate and misunderstood person on earth. Everyone mistreats and underestimates and exploits them. Next, they overreact and take things personally. They have a tendency to make everything about themselves. They take everything personally and get offended for no reason. They can easily take an innocent phrase as an insult or turn an irrelevant remark into personal offense and lose temper very quickly. You will end up saying sorry and trying to calm them down even though you didn't say anything wrong. Next, they are intimidating. This is a different type of energy vampire that I had shared about. These people will try and dominate and intimidate you. They make hurtful statements and give unsolicited advice because they are convinced that they are always right and that everyone should listen to them. And they also speak bad about others or make fun of others. Now, with all these signs and traits, hopefully you are now able to identify whether you have an energy vampire in your circle or not. Now, remember that it may not be very easy to identify them, especially if they are very close to you. Now, what can you do once you identify your energy vampire? First, set boundaries. This happens to be one of the most important steps you need to take. Start limiting the time you spend with them and the amount of time you give them. You don't need to respond to every message or every phone call they make. Second, adjust expectations. Now realize that they will not reciprocate the way you do. Therefore, limit the amount of emotional energy you are investing in them. You cannot control their behavior, but you can always control yours. Third, don't always be available for them. Now, energy vampires latch on to those who give them time and attention. You may not have been able to give much time to other friends and relationships because this one person has been taking up all your time. Spend your energy on cultivating other empowering and encouraging friendships. They may get upset initially, but once they realize that you are not available for them, they may latch on to someone else. Fourth, many times you may realize that you cannot cut off this person from your life. In such cases, you need to be honest with them and share with them how their conversations make you feel. You can also encourage them to look at the brighter side of things or give a different perspective when they start complaining. Fifth, practice self-care. Taking care of yourself is essential. Engage in activities that recharge and rejuvenate you. Now give priority to activities like exercises that release the happy hormones called endorphins, or center yourself with the practice of meditation, etc. Just make sure that you have many other friends who are positive and uplifting. Sixth, surround yourself with positivity. Now make it intentional to be surrounded by positivity in life. Now it could be friends who are supportive and uplifting, motivational podcasts or books, attending events that empower you and build your confidence and energy. Now this is all about what to do if you have an energy vampire in your life. Now let me ask you, what if you are an energy vampire and you don't even know about it? Let me help you with that. I'm going to ask you a series of questions and you need to answer it honestly and quickly. I just want you to keep counting every time you agree with the statement and keep the count, okay? First, do you call your friends mostly only when you're upset or pissed off with someone or something and rant about it? Next, do you get mad when your friends say no, set boundaries, or are not able to be there for you when you need them? Next, do you find yourself constantly talking when you meet other people, going from one story to another without even giving people the time and space to speak? Next, do you find that you constantly need acknowledgement or validation from others? Next, do you feel that people often don't or can't understand you or your problems? Next, do you find friends avoiding you, constantly cancelling on you, or keeping you at arm's length? Next, do you get upset when your friends don't see your heavy judgment of others the same way you do? Next, do people often complain that you don't listen to them when in fact you feel that they don't listen to you? Next, do you have a tendency to emotionally blackmail and threaten your friends and family to get them to do what you want? Last, do you often feel helpless, like you have little opportunity to improve your life? I hope you kept the count, and if your count is at least 5 or more for the above questions, chances are that you are an energy vampire. Now, one of the reasons could be that you might have been hurt in the past, and as a result, you unknowingly hurt those around you. Now, they in turn push you away and hurt you further. It's a vicious circle. The fact is that most of the time, you may not even know that you are an energy vampire. Now, based on the count, the good part is that you are now aware of it. Therefore, you can take steps to stop being one. What steps can you take? First, learn to manage your stress. One of the reasons for people to vent their frustration is due to the stress they are going through. Therefore, managing stress is one of the first things you need to do. You can express your thoughts and feelings through journaling. You can take professional help from counselors or psychologists. Once you start practicing self-care, your stress will naturally reduce and you will not be a pain for people around you. Second, become more self-aware. Now, self-awareness is the key to understanding yourself better. There are mindfulness techniques that can give you a much greater awareness about your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. This will definitely help you take corrective action wherever required. Third, talk less, listen more. See, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we should always listen twice as much as we talk. The next time you're in a social gathering or spending one-on-one time with someone, try to listen actively, ask them questions, and see how you can support them instead of the other way around. Fourth, set personal boundaries. If you realize that you have the tendency to rant to your friends, make a conscious effort not to do it. It's easier said than done. So if you have a close friend, take their help in identifying when you transition into an energy vampire and suck the happiness out of people around you. Fifth, expose the darkness within to take its power away. Open yourself to being vulnerable with the people you trust. Until you heal to the core, you must catch yourself in the moment. You must learn to be aware of your emotionally driven impulses to act and behave in your emotionally draining habits. Make sure that you do this with no judgment, just observing and having compassion in your heart for this part of you. If you stay present to the urge as well as the emotion, it will subside, and you may even understand the reason why this keeps coming up. Remember that there will always be people who take advantage of you. There will also be times when you are in a situation where you can take advantage of others. In either cases, the most important thing to do is to be aware and to acknowledge the situation. Understand that a solution can only stem from there. So stay protected, stay aware, and watch your aura. Now, if you like this episode, do give it a rating and do share this with other people if you think it will help them. Now, please don't forget to click the follow button so that you don't miss any of our episodes. This is Commander Bimal Raj, and I will be back with another talk very soon.